Hello, this is Swords, and today is day 6 of a week of small swords. You'll have to excuse the condition my hands are in, as I've been working on this all day. Today we're going to be looking at this, the model of 1852 French diplomatic corps small sword, or rather court sword. The 1852 has many late features and is very elaborate. Let me bring it closer to the camera so we can appreciate that better. The gilding remains at 95 to 99% and is very well executed. The clamshell guard features the imperial eagle of the Second French Empire, as well as these thunderbolt-style arrows and oak leaves and a laurel. The handle scales are mother of pearl and feature a nice pearlescence as you move them in the light. The side of the handle scales are decorated with a foliate pattern, and this continues in the knuckle bow. You'll note that this knuckle bow does not have fingerings, indicative of a late development in this line. The pommel is also floral in decoration, featuring leaves in what is generally the form of a flowering bud. True to form, this has a hollow ground triangular blade. And unlike the later 1890 cut steel example we have, this is truly forged into this shape rather than simply being ground from stock. You can see the remnants of some decorational elements on this blade, which would have been frost or acid etched. The overall weight of this sword is 372 grams, which puts it right in the middle of our 315 exam from yesterday, 415 gram example from day 5. While these two small swords are generally similar in form factor, you'll note that the level of decoration is of course very different, with the cut steel example featuring an almost industrial appearance, and this featuring a very elaborate appearance. This model of 1852 French sword was designed for an ambassador, someone in the diplomatic corps, whereas this court sword is simply a generic one, similar to the ones offered by Henry Poole of London. Incidentally, Henry Poole is the credited inventor of the modern tuxedo, which persists to this day. Unfortunately, it is no longer socially acceptable to wear a small sword like this at your side when in a full tuxedo. While this may not be one of my rarest or most valuable swords, it is certainly one of the prettiest. The iridescent handles and the gold fittings contrast nicely, and the white painted scabbard goes nicely with the white mother of pearl grips. If we contrast the blades, you can see that their profile is generally similar, both being about equally wide and tapering rather similarly. However, this blade is considerably more flexible than this, and that's due to the way they were produced. This was ground from either circular, square or triangular bar stock, whereas this was hammer forged. As a result, this blade is heavier, meatier, and features flats on the spines, whereas all of the spines on this have acute angles. The end result with the different blade geometry but similar profile is that this blade is slightly more flexible than this blade, but considerably lighter by about 45 grams. It's also worth noting that the density of bronze and brass and other copper alloys is higher than that of steel, which means the balance point on this sword is quite close, being only about 1.5 inches to 2 inches away from the guard. The underside of this clamshell is marked AJB, however it is impossible to capture on camera. I've not yet identified exactly which sword maker or retailer this was, however it is quite likely that this was a limited production run, as the number of people in the diplomatic corps was never particularly high, and the cost of producing a sword to this level was of course very significant. Having spoken enough about that sword, let me bring it closer to the camera and I'll stop speaking so you can simply admire it, as it's quite gorgeous. This has been day 7 of our week of small swords. If you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing to my channel, liking this video, and leaving a comment in the description, as every little bit helps.